What's happening, people? So, in light of my last video about the reality show called I Want to Marry Harry, I thought it would be fun to learn more about the show from someone who was actually on the show. So I reached out to the real life princess Kimberly Birch, who was the winner of I Want to Marry Harry, and she had a lot of really interesting things to say. If you want to learn more about her, you can follow her here and here. She's a super nice and genuine person, so please guys, go give her some love. Now, without further ado, please enjoy the interview. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me and chat about your experience on I Want to Marry Harry.
I've had a lot of fun, though. A lot of fun.
How did it all come about? Did you apply to be on the show? How does that work with reality TV?
With reality TV, it's very interesting because casting agents, yeah, you can submit applications, but they also go out in the field and they look for personalities. So I was working at a promotional modeling agency, not like a real modeling one, but
Yeah.
hot girl one.
Yeah.
And I just had a casting agent approach me and she's like, "Oh, you're very funny. You should apply for this reality TV show." So they actually had several girls apply and audition. And I just assumed it was a one and done kind of thing. And they kept pursuing me.
Right.
And next thing you know, everyone in my life was telling me to go on it. So
when it aired, did you watch it with your friends and family?
yeah, when the first episode, so I didn't know what each episode looked like. So I'm watching it just like everyone else is.
Right.
So it was a pretty cool opening night party at my house. And we watched it and I'm like, all right, it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm like, they made me look stupid, but that's okay. I can handle that.
I have to be honest, I feel like you got the least shit out of all the other girls.
Obviously he's important. You're Downton Abbey!
I mean, that was editing though. They could have edited me any way they wanted to.
Yeah.
I think because they knew at the end that I had won.
Right.
Had to make me likable enough to the viewers so that I would be endearing and cute, and because I had my moments that you don't see.
You are fake. Are you kidding?
The show kind of makes it seem like there's all this drama and fighting that's happening. Was that kind of was that for me personally? I felt like it was very played up, and was that real, or did people actually fight like that?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I think the cattiness, the fighting aspect of it is spot on.
Dance. Don't be such a wet blanket.
I mean, here you are, you're combining a bunch of different personalities together. You know they're going to clash. And what they did was match people up as roommates. So 2 girls per room, knowing that their personalities are complete opposite.
Right.
So Karina, who is super religious and a very nice, reserved girl, was paired up with Maggie, who is,
I don't think I've drank a lot, but I feel like I've drank enough.
doing her thing, drinking her martinis, all that stuff. So they cause chaos. And it does show. I think that was a genuine portrayal of what it was like. And they toned it down because there are moments that they don't show you where we're all sitting at the dinner table yelling and people are crying, and it's a lot.
I mean, I guess it's hard to blame you guys for fighting like that. Like you said, how they set you guys up, and it's almost like they really put the gears in motion to have it be that way.
Back at it now, I'm like, that was well played.
Yeah.
If she were to be nice, we'd all lovingly accept her, but she's not being nice right now.
When in that situation, you just you can take as much as you can, and you're under a lot of pressure. You're under a lot of stress. You're not sleeping well. You're not eating well. It's a competitive environment also, so it gets to everyone.
Yeah, that's totally fair. What was it like being on that production? Was it kind of was it go go go, we have a very strict schedule, or was it kind of just more chill and relaxed?
Um, well, with filming, which I think surprises a lot of people, it was only about 4 or 5 weeks of filming.
Yeah.
So they did have to cram a lot into a short period of time. So every day there was a schedule. There, we had something to do. Everything was structured so that something was lined up every day, but we just didn't know what.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're kept on your toes at that point. And you just kind of lose track of time. You lose track of like what your days are going to be like. Some mornings you're up by 6, others they don't call you down until noon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you're kind of at their mercy at that point.
Was it very like realistic? Like did they kind of like hint at like things that you should talk about, or how did that like process kind of work?
That's always a good question. I would say about 80% of it, what you see is kind of what you get.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I would say 80%. But factoring in, you're kind of morphing to your environment. So you might not be your authentic self, especially in the scenarios where the butler Kingsley comes about. So you're on your guard and you're trying to save face. But I think they did a pretty good job of editing us.
Right.
I could see there are moments where I'm like, I would never say that. I would never do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Tricky. They'll wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was one of my least favorite aspects of filming was they knew that you were sleep deprived, you were stressed out, you didn't look your best, so they'd pull you in, feed you a glass of champagne, and say, "All right, talk." You're like, "Are you?" And you could say whatever you want at that point too, because you're just like, "Dude, I just want to go to bed."
That's actually crazy that it's like 80% like realistic. Like, I feel like a lot of people they have this impression of reality TV where it's like it's all fake and like it's all maybe even it's scripted or who knows, but it's kind of nice to know that it's like pretty real.
Well, for my show, I would say
Yeah.
it was relatively real because you're in a brainwashing kind of situation. I think for a lot of reality TV, the participants know what's going on, so they have a lot more leeway in regards to manipulating the situations, and they're working with producers, so it's a little different. I think ours was one of the more genuine ones.
So do you feel like you were accurately portrayed? Like I know you said they made you look a bit dumb.
I think a part of my personality was accurately portrayed. I think that there was a lot more to me, and I think with all the girls on the show that we didn't get to see, so there's the layers. So I had my moments where I was a bitch. I had my
Okay.
when I was, I guess, more reserved and just like I think they portrayed Megan at least like she was the mean girl, and she had her moments where she wasn't, and she was sweet and soft. So I think they just focus in on what they want to see from you, and that's what they're going to show. But yeah, that was a part of me.
What gave you the idea to do the bungee jumping? Like have you have you done that before or
Ooh. I think at the moment I just needed to do something absolutely crazy, and I needed some kind of a release, You're trapped in this castle. You can't have a moment to yourself to just decompress. And when they asked me what you want to do for a date, at the moment it was more of not really thinking of what I want to do for a date, but what I would like to do traveling or being abroad. So I've always wanted to bungee jump, and at that moment I was like, screw it. What have I got to lose at this point?
Yeah, yeah. What was it like? It was your first time you did it, right?
Terrifying.
This could be fun.
Have you ever done
No.
this before? You've never bungee jumped?
No, I haven't.
Are you nervous?
Yeah.
I felt bad mostly for Matt because that's something that you like don't just jump on into. And if I did it, he kind of had to. So
Yeah. But you both did it, so kudos.
yeah,
Do you still talk with some of the people from the show?
I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, it's been years now. So we've kind of all, gone our own ways. We all live in different states. Jackie was actually one of my friends before the show, so I still keep in touch with her here or there. Farina once in a while, Maggie, Chelsea, a few of them. Annalisa, I keep in touch with. We actually all went to Las Vegas a few years after the show.
Have you been to Vegas?
What makes you say that?
You kind of look like Harry, so.
Like who?
We just lost touch. The thing is, I don't hold any grudge against any of the girls, which is a good thing. There's no one there. Oh, I can't stand that girl. I don't ever want to again. Kelly, I'm a little scared of, but
Yeah, she scares me too.
yeah, I wouldn't want to be left in a room alone with her to this day. But
That's awesome though. That's nice that you guys like all keep in touch, or at least I know it's been like almost 7 years since the show aired, but
crazy when you say it like that. I'm like,
sorry. I imagine like a lot of people who watch the show just think that you guys like hate each other after all that.
but when you have things to compare it to, like the Housewives and things, which I think is pretty accurate, that they do fight and they are nasty to one another. We didn't have that environment. Like, we're competing for a guy that none of us were even interested in to begin with. We're all friends. We're on vacation. This is so cool.
Yeah, free drinks, free food.
Drinks free. We're staying in a castle. There's a butler.
Do you still talk to Matt at all?
That's a question my dad always asks me, which is very funny.
I didn't want to ask it because I'm sure like I figured you got it all the time.
If I had to make a list of the most asked questions, the number one would be like, do you still talk to Matt?
I'm so sorry.
It needed to be asked. No worries. I think Matt and I had a very interesting relationship on the show. We both kind of liked each other, but at some level, we kind of knew what this all was. And we stayed in touch for about 2-3 years after. But in reality, he's in England. I'm in New York. It was a quote unquote whirlwind romance that came about, reality TV show where you couldn't be your authentic self.
Yeah.
They couldn't. And it was like how I didn't really get to know you. You didn't really get to know me. So it was cute and all. But at the end of the day, I think that Matt is a really kind and wonderful person.
Yeah.
And he's been awesome since the show. And I know I think he's engaged now. Or, well, he could have 10 babies. I don't even know. But no, he was a very good friend. And I keep up to date with his Instagram. But we kind of like lost touch for a few years. But there's no ill will involved.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's fair. Like what you said, like you didn't really get to know each other, and then it's like there would be like a very, very slim chance of like something like happened or like sparked there because like yeah, you didn't even like know his name until like 5 weeks in.
Right. It's like, no offense to you. I get that like you have to put this persona on, but you were lying to me for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
How much am I supposed to like take in from this?
Yeah, exactly.
I just liked Matt for Matt the whole time.
I like that throughout the whole show he was just kind of like I don't like lying to these people. Like it feels bad and
you can tell that it was like eating at him and it was taking a toll on him.
I think it'll be tough when it comes to the reveal that I'm not Prince Harry. So I'm hoping I make the right decision.
How did it feel? Because I know the show was pulled off the air after 4 episodes.
4, yeah.
How did that all feel?
I think myself in particular, I mean, I was devastated mostly because I knew I had won, and it wasn't so much that I wanted everyone to see I had won. It was like I put all my energy into staying on there as long as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And the experience that I had, especially towards the end, because that's when it starts getting really tough, wasn't going to be shown. So it almost felt like this was all for nothing.
Yeah.
So that was pretty tough to take. And I'm super grateful that they at least aired it on Hulu. And eventually it started getting picked up that like, oh, we could stream the whole series. But yeah, that was hard when Fox pulled it halfway through. It was like, you really can't finish 4 more episodes.
Yeah. So that's so disappointing. Do you ever get recognized like just on the street? Like, hey, you're that person who won.
I did after it aired for about 2 years.
Oh wow.
I would get recognized, and now I think it's just one of those things that's like, it, if you never heard about it, it's one of those shows that it doesn't really pop up, so you have to kind of know about it and be like, yeah, I remember that concept.
Yeah.
Then people will figure it out, but not at least in the last 4 years.
What was that like? Were people pretty like nice about it or
Everyone was super nice that met me and that like approached me, so it was a good experience at least. Um, I'm not sure if like bring her up again, but let's say Kelly had the same experience, you know. So I was lucky in that. I'm being acknowledged for what I didn't really do anything.
yeah.
It's all
You won.
filmed. Yeah, but it didn't require a lot of work or talent. So it was a little weird for me because I'm used to like with a play or film or something that's like, oh, you worked on this. This is like, yeah, I just did a reality show.
It's like maybe it feels a bit I don't want to say undeserved because that
It does
feels
feel a little undeserved though. You nailed it.
but I feel like and this is kind of like a segue into my next question, but like I feel like you had like a very at least from the way that the show put it, I feel like you had a very like solid like strategy from the beginning. You were like kind of like you were gonna try to like stay out of the fighting and the drama and then so in that sense maybe it was deserved.
Yeah, I kind of knew going into it, like, this is not going to be fun. So it wasn't an experience that I was looking forward to
hmm
because I just knew I'm like, this is a bachelorette style reality show. I'm like, it's going to be competitive. It's going to be super stressful. I know about casting. I know what they're going to do. So I just had to make a conscious effort of really taking a step back. I held back a lot, I think. Like me as a person, I would have been much more vocal in certain situations, but knowing that there are cameras on you 24/7, one thing you say can be taken out of context and misconstrued. I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and play it cool.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
Was
I've
it
had a
because I'm
lovely
a
time
great
with you
cricket
so
player?
far. I think it
Is
might
that
have been
why?
your cricket skills.
That I just found out that I actually had.
Yeah, I know, out of the blue.
I kind of wanted to talk about the brainwashing that was going on. Like,
Yeah.
how did it feel like to be like put in this scenario where you're just like lied to like nonstop?
Actually brainwashed.
Yeah,
I think what I've learned, which is fascinating about it, is that you don't realize you're being brainwashed fully while it's happening. You kind of just, I mean, I think several of us were pretty good with our instincts and knew something was up, but I would just see girls one by one just succumb to the brainwashing. So you feel like you're by yourself. And
right.
you're crazy. Or else around me, like going crazy. You don't know what to believe anymore. So you have to adapt to that environment.
Yeah,
In order to survive, I'm not in control. I'm not the authority figure. I have to go with the flow.
right.
And what snapped me out of the brainwash of it all, because factoring in, you don't get to talk to your parents or your friends or your family. You don't have a phone. You don't have TV. You don't have a pen and paper to write with or express yourself. You are literally cut off from the rest of the world. You're in this bubble.
Yeah,
You're having producers and everyone tell you, like, this is your reality. Believe it. If
right.
you don't, you'll get kicked off or there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, yeah.
It was when I saw the Harry mask in the souvenir shop that I'm like, reality check. I know what's happening.
Oh, so they didn't even show that in the show, but you like saw a mask of him and then you were like, this isn't him at all?
Yeah, it was me, Karina, and Kelly, I think were the last three
Yeah,
at that. And so you know more about it than I do. I'm like, I don't remember. Was the
I just watched it, so that's why.
so they brought us into London and they just coordinated really badly. So we were walking down the block and there was a souvenir shop on the corner. And you know how they have like, I know in like New York, we have like the Trump mask with the eyeballs cut out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that of like Princess Diana,
Oh my God.
boom, Prince Harry. And I looked at it and I said, oh my, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I'm like, that is not the same freaking guy. It's like into my brain. I'm like, I know what's happening. It was confirmed. I needed some kind of outside confirmation.
Yeah.
Because at that point you have 50 people telling you you're nuts.
Yeah.
And seeing that, I'm like, no, I know what's happening here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a scandal with production.
That's crazy. So I guess like you, Karina, and Kelly all saw that mask, and then like were you
Yo,
all?
nope. Kelly didn't see it. Karina didn't see it. I saw it.
Oh wow.
And that's when we got into the car. I'm standing there alone, guys. This isn't Prince Harry. Like 100,000,000,000% sure this is not Prince Harry. Yeah, that was a wild moment. But
You should have like pocketed that mask and then like confronted him and be like,
see this?
yeah, this
What?
isn't you. I guess it's like kind of a blessing that you saw that. It seems like some of the other women on the show were like very much so convinced that he was Prince Harry.
It's amazing. I never thought I would play cricket, let alone with Prince Harry. Are you kidding me?
At some subconscious level, whether I wanted to believe it or not, I knew that this wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Really? So he's gonna pick one of us and we're gonna be the next like Princess of England? Give me a freaking break, man. Like that's not like, but in the moment you just have to play that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there were a lot of girls. I think most of the girls on this show were actually 100% convinced.
I guess it kind of makes you like gives you sympathy for people who are like actually stuck in real cults.
I can't compare like our experience to like
Yeah.
them or something like that.
Yeah.
But I tell people now, I'm like, it is so much easier than you think to be brainwashed, and people will automatically assume like that can't happen to me. I'm too aware. I'm so intelligent that I would see right through it. I mean, it happens every day in religious cults or whatever is going on, that people lose themselves in a group mindset, and you start to not think for yourself, and it becomes easier to listen to someone else give you direction.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I hear. Like, I mean, I'm not an expert and I have no idea what it's like. But yeah, that's what it seems like. And you almost like, yeah, you have to feel bad for these people.
Yeah, at some level, yeah, you have to have sympathy. I mean, others it's just like you're absolutely like brain dead if that's the case. But for a lot of people, I can sympathize with how you can get caught up in this situation and be led to believe that it's your reality.
When Kingsley came to you guys and he was like, he actually is Prince Harry.
Sir is indeed His Royal Highness Prince Harry of Wales.
How did that feel? Like, were you kind of like,
It felt forced.
so like in the moment you were like, this is bullshit.
You couldn't call bullshit, but you could sense I'm like, this is not how this would unfold if it actually was Prince Harry. It's like something is off here, but I don't know exactly what. So the premise of the show didn't register yet, but
Right.
my radar was up that like something's really weird here. Maybe I got myself in a cult and I'm sold into trafficking and I don't even know it. But like, what do I?
It kind of does like give off that like trafficking feel. Like, did it really feel like that?
I mean, yes and no. You kind of knew, like, you trust that it's part of the production. This is, I guess, just like the typical protocol of how reality shows work, but you don't have a place to check, like, your stability, like your mental stability. You're like, I can't call my mom, I can't call my friends, I can't see a TV, I don't know where I am. You're telling me I'm here, but I don't know that for a fact. I know nothing for a fact.
Yeah.
So that's the weird part. You're like, all right, I'm eating dinner with this butler whose name is Kimberly, a royal table. I was like, what the fuck? And like, hey, like, I'll just go with this until like something happens.
Y'all, it's for real.
How long does it take a bunch of American girls to figure out they're hanging out with Prince Harry?
Did you get to meet Ryan Seacrest?
No, I did not, and I'm very pissed about that.
That's disappointing. Like, you won the show. You're technically a princess. Like, what more does he want from you?
And he knows about me. He saw it. And I'm like, you're freaking kidding me. And I'm in New York.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. You could have like called me over for a minute to just like make an appearance.
Yeah, something like just like a courtesy or like a phone call or like
Anything. Anything at all would have been funny. No, but Matt got to meet him and they were super buddy and taking selfies together. And I'm like, this isn't fair. I'm like, Matt did shit.
Yeah.
I maneuvered my way to this level. But what's funny is when I found out the name of the show, I was driving back in New York, and when we signed the contract, it was called Dream Date or some weird title.
Yeah.
So we signed our contracts, Dream Date. And I'm driving and I hear maybe 6 months after filming was done, Ryan Seacrest on Z100 going, oh my God, yeah, I heard about this show that's coming out where a bunch of American girls go to England and they actually think they're dating Prince Harry. And you hear them all bashing us like, what a bunch of idiots. Like,
Oh my
how
God.
dumb can these girls be? And it's like, yeah, and the show's called I Want to Marry Harry. I literally pulled over. And I think like call my parents and I'm like, this is ridiculous. They changed the title. Ryan's fucking shit. I knew it wasn't going to be Dream Date because I mean, honestly, who would watch a show that's called Dream Date on Fox?
Yeah.
That was bad. I was like, what, you guys couldn't have given us a heads up that like the title of the show is going to be released in the next week or just letting you know to mentally prepare. No, just drop it on us like that.
Yeah, they threw you under the bus.
Yeah, well, they did that multiple times.
Do you feel like ill will towards like the production or like Fox?
No, not at all, actually. I'm like, you guys, you guys got us. I think maybe just with having, I don't know, a little bit of a background in like the industry that you understand how this stuff kind of works. So you can't take it personally.
Yeah.
It's not like they were out to get me and make me look bad. It's part of the show. It's part of entertainment.
Yeah.
It's got to give the people what they want, that kind of mentality. I thought they did a very nice job of it. And even with everything that I've said in interviews about how brainwashed we were and how ridiculous it was, we were treated fantastically.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience.
So, ladies, this is a very important occasion. Sir has arranged some presents for you.
Do you think that the royal family watched the show?
I wonder about that to this There were rumors, I think, in People magazine or one of those, that Prince Harry had heard about it at least and thought it was funny.
Oh, okay.
Concept of the show and that they were actually filming it in the UK. But if they actually sat down and watched it, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's one of those questions that'll be left to mystery. I mean, he's dating an American actress now, so it wouldn't shock me if he did.
I know, isn't that so ridiculous that it's like Want to Marry Harry aired in 2014 and then like he marries an American named Meghan.
Yeah, exactly. Who's half Hispanic.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And people are like, that's ridiculous. Like, he would ever marry an American actress. Given, I mean, she was much more established than I was, but
No, don't say that.
she wasn't like Angelina Jolie at the time.
Like, she's just on like Suits. Like,
Yeah,
who watches that show anyways?
Dang. It was kind of like a premonition, I guess, the whole show. That was like kind of a cool way that people spun it. Like, oh, this show like foresaw that Prince Harry was going to be with an American an actress. Whatever it is, it was a cool experience, and I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad that people are still even interested in this. I thought this was going to be like lost in the abyss by this point. I think it's going to get more attention as time goes on.
Yeah.
Where I think it was a little ahead, the way I say this, ahead of its time, just because people, I don't think we're that interested in the royal family when it aired. And Netflix wasn't a thing. It
Yeah.
just came out on Hulu. That wasn't much of a thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see if it makes a reboot one day in the future. That'll be really funny.
I think it's possible. Did you know much about the royal family, but like before you started the show, or was it kind of like all new to you?
Well, my dad is English.
Oh, okay.
England, so I knew a little bit about it, but I wasn't really well equipped to understand like how the royal family operated.
Yeah.
So I did, but I didn't.
Yeah, I think that's like most people.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I get it, like Buckingham Palace, like basics like that. But you had some girls that had absolutely no idea where England was on the map. They're like, oh my God, poor Maggie. I hope she doesn't kill me for this. It's like, are we like by Iceland? I'm
Oh no.
sort of a little more that way.
Yeah, kind of, I guess.
Iceland. And I'm like, we're not in Iceland, but yeah, sure, girl.
You could be a fun princess.
Was she your roommate during that time?
No, Meghan was.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Not me.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sure she's nice.
I mean,
She's a character. Let's say that.
oh, she's a character. I think I'll give her this. I think she was one of the ones that knew the game so well before any of us did. She knew the statements to make, the quick-witted little comments that she had lined up ready to go. She knew how to get her airtime. She knew how to play the game.
That's interesting because it really does seem that way.
She knew it. From the minute I met her, I'm like, oh God, what have I gotten myself into? Hi, I'm Meghan. Nice to meet you. I'm a human being. What the hell is going to happen to me in the next 6 weeks?
Come on.
In all honesty, she's a sweet girl, and she just knew what to do. She knew how to get herself on air, and it worked. So I can't blame her for it. I would have had a totally different strategy.
Oh, really? What would your strategy be?
Oh, I don't know. I probably would have been the mean girl at this point. I would have been like, knock everything out.
Do you think that would work though? Because I feel like Meghan being like the mean girl really like got her like off the show.
Yeah, I say that now just because of having like 7 years of life experience. Like, oh, would have gone back, but then I realized I wouldn't have been. And that experience wouldn't have been right for me if I would have gone on with like the knowledge I have now. It wouldn't have worked.
Spit it out, babe.
I'm going to have to ask you to leave the estate.
Did Meghan like practice her lines? Because like when she says that line about like
Your head is launched so far up your ass. I could eat alphabet soup and something out that made more sense than what you're saying right now.
Oh, that one was the most coerced statement I think of the entire show, because when she said it was like, this is perfectly timed, perfectly set, and like, this girl has had experience with this.
Yeah, like was she just like practicing that like every day until or does she just like say it to everyone?
I think that if you watch enough reality TV, you pick up on little like statements and things that turn out to be memes. So I think she knew what she was doing. She's a good strategizer. She's a good businesswoman and character. So she was equipped to know at what moments to drop this line on. The rest of us are like, what do we say to match that? Yeah, it was definitely a totally, absolutely insane, crazy experience.
It doesn't sound all too bad though. Like
no, it was.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that it wasn't like just like horrendously terrible.
No, no. I think a lot of my interviews came across as I was like, oh, this was horrible. It wasn't that. I was trying to get across the fact that this was not what everyone assumed it was, that it wasn't just you get flown to this castle knowing that you're going to be dating a quote unquote Prince Harry and think you're going to live happily ever after. It's like you have to understand how it all unfolded. And that's what makes this show so interesting and so unique and special and weird and crazy. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of layers to it. And I love that about it.
Probably the most interesting experience of my entire life.
I guess I'm just curious, like, how has the show affected your life since it aired? Like, what's been going on in your life?
It's a very interesting question. I mean, when I was first asked to be on this show, I was really dubious about it just because I've been trained as an actress my whole life, and you're kind of taught in this industry, don't go on reality. It's going to ruin your career.
Yeah.
But it was actually an awesome experience. I'm super happy I did it. I think it's been great exposure, but I've also made some awesome friends. And it's something that I will never forget. It was a pivotal moment in my life. There is never an instant with my career that I will forget that was part of the catalyst to it. So yeah, it's been a huge part of my life. My main goal once quarantine is over here in New York is to finish up my drama therapy degree. I think I've mentioned in interviews like that was my main goal to get my master's in drama therapy NYU, and everything's been kind of put on hold since then.
Yeah.
But it's that I'm still auditioning. I mean, everything's virtual,
Yeah.
so it's not the same. But we have started a little acting company, which is pretty cool, and we all keep in touch and are working on getting a film put together within the next 8 months. I know it always takes so much time.
Yeah.
It's all part of the creative process.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's been an adventure for sure, but I feel like for me, I have to keep going with that in order to feel creatively complete, or else I go crazy.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, and exactly, it's so nice to meet other people. Most of my friends are, corporate, so they don't understand the struggle and the angst that you feel when you're not being creative. But I've
Yeah.
been working as a host on Bigo Live, which is a live stream little app, and that has been awesome because there's like a collective community of artists who express themselves throughout this all. And you get paid to do it, so it's pretty cool.
What exactly is it?
I just got hired about 2 months ago, not really knowing what it was. It's a live streaming app. My agent told me, it's like, yeah, go on it. You'll like it. So you have people that are dancers or singers, or they enjoy cooking, and you just kind of showcase your talent in that sense. And then you build up a following, a fan base, and people that are like minded and enjoy the same kind of things you do. And yeah, you somehow make a living off of it, which is very strange, but
That's awesome. That sounds really cool.
very
So what's your talent that you do on the app?
So I do skits, I'll do monologues, and I'll test it out. So before like I have an audition, I'll ask everyone, just letting you know, this isn't me going into acting mode, and get some funny feedback. Which is cool.
Yeah.
It's almost like performing in front of an audience virtually, which obviously isn't the same as being on stage,
Yeah.
but it's something.
Because I think I heard you say in an interview, I Want to Marry Harry kind of like reignited your acting career a little bit.
It definitely did. I mean, it beforehand, I'm like 23 years old when this was filmed, so I'm trying to do the math. So I had just gone out of college about a year or two prior.
Yeah.
So this was a way for me to present myself to agents and managers like, I've done something, and it's a little tricky because, like I told you, it is reality.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be taken seriously with that. But it definitely allowed me to kind of branch out, and I think it also gave me some self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is something that's kind of tangible and not as ridiculous as it sounds. Because that was ridiculous in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like, how much crazier it going to be?
I'm sure it could be worse. There's a lot of like really fucked up reality TV shows out there.
And just random ones that you're like, how did this even get like green lighted? This is so horrific.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like Naked and Afraid. Like, where did that come from?
Who thought of that, and who, more importantly, who agreed to be on that?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how much you have to pay me, but it's got to be within like the 6-figure domain.
At least.
Yeah,
At least.
Guy's like eating a spider. He's like, it's all I have for the next week. I'm like, nah. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'd rather be broke.
Oh, that's it. I'll do McDonald's for the next 5 days.
Yeah.
Dollar menu, totally fine.
Okay. Interesting.
This is like an hour-long therapy session for me.
I'm glad. I hope in a good way.
No, definitely. This was awesome. Well, it was a fun one for me, at least. It's one of the least stressful ones I've done. They usually really grill me with this. So this is very like laid back and chill. I actually enjoyed this.
I'm glad. Just going off of that, like what kind of what's like the weirdest interview question that you had in relation to like I guess anything really.
Something about the Queen of England. Something about like battling her for the throne, and I just remember being like, "Are you, is this a serious question?" I'm like, "That's
What?
yeah." It was something about like, how would you feel if you and the Queen of England were up against one another, like during the show? And I'm like, wait, wouldn't that be like her grandson? It was a very
Yeah,
interesting statement.
that's so strange.
It's something with the Queen of England, and that makes it even weirder.
Yeah, but did anybody get naked?
Thank you so much for doing this interview with me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for reaching out. You did an awesome job.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
Okay, talk to you later.
Talk soon.
Bye.